This is football. I am Kevin Clark. Guys, Will Compton joins. You know him, you love him. This is unbelievable. Really fun episode. And then Trey Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs also joins. A lot of ball knowledge here. A lot of fun. These are two dudes who just know how to talk about the game in a certain way. You're going to enjoy this. As a reminder, 5-star reviews help us, help everybody. This is football. It's presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Compton. All right, Will Compton is here, one of the best new media creators on the planet. You know, Bussin with the Boys. You know him from his 9-year NFL career. What's going on, buddy?
Dude, nothing, man. You forgot to mention, hey, for the Dads Pod, we got
For
a
the
For the
Dads
Dads
Pod.
Papa Team 6.
Bro,
Life's good, man.
I gotta tell you, so my kid isn't sleeping right now. He's waking up in the middle of the night. He's 2.5, and he's screaming all the time. And then we're telling the other parents, and like, oh yeah, our kid's been doing that the whole time. And now I feel like an asshole because apparently I have a good kid, and I didn't appreciate it until we told the other parents about our problems.
Yeah, that's usually how it works, right? Like
Yeah.
you're kind of close to the vest, and then when you get talking about it, it's, oh, hey, good for you, or hey, you're kind of flexing on us right now with your kids
Yeah.
sleeping
Oh,
through the
your
night.
kid just started screaming? Cool. We've been doing that every day since he came back from the hospital.
Yeah. So you just got to put them on a book. I'm like, hey, go read 12 hours by 12 weeks. We're 2-0 on it right now. I know every kid's different, but it's like that's all we know. That's the only world we know right now.
I hear that. It's a journey. Embrace the process. That's all I say. Embrace the process.
Embrace
Trust the
the suck,
process.
bro. Oh, kids
Embrace the
not
suck.
sleeping, kids screaming through the night. Good. They're spitting up on you. Good.
That's
Oh,
right.
but
That's right.
everything's good, bro.
That's it. We're blessed. I want to start here. So, our Titans. I'm a Miami guy, so I'm now a Titans fan. I accidentally became a Titans fan because I was defending the Titans and Cam Ward so much, and then the Titans fans were like, "Bro, you're just a Titans fan now." And now I'm like refreshing the message boards. I'm texting Brian Callahan. You know, good luck. You know, I'm in. I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in it.
You're in it.
So
You got some
I'm in
personal
it.
investment.
Yeah, I'm in it. So they get the win. We get the win yesterday. You sat down with Cam Ward. I think he's an amazing person. I think he's an amazing quarterback. I think he's going to change the culture there if things at least get to a point, Will, where the talent level is a little higher and the execution's a little better. Take me through what you saw from Cam Ward after his first win.
Dude, listen, Cam Ward is definitely going to be a dude in this league. You see it with his poise. He kind of just has this don't blink mentality. Like his confidence, he just oozes with confidence. His leadership is clearly there. Like he's not afraid to get up on a post game presser and just speak his mind and do it with some not like conviction, like he's doing anything passionately, but just like you can just tell he's got that mentality. He's got that it factor that every coach wants out of their starting quarterback. And the fact that he's doing it his first year in the league, he's going to be a very good player in this football league. And we actually just interviewed Coach Cristobal, the head coach of
Oh,
Miami, for Bussin' with the Boys, and he was
yeah.
kind of telling us a story of like, give us a good. I don't even know if we asked for a Cam Ward story. We just kind of talked about his leadership and what he can be with Tennessee, and he told us a story about when Cam Ward got to Miami. He was calling up the receivers to say he's gonna throw with them, this, that, and the other. And he called up one of the receivers, and the receiver told him, "I'm not gonna be able to make it. I'm going to throw and catch passes from Lamar Jackson." And Cam Ward's response was, and I might be butchering this, but his response was something along the lines of, "Then you need to hope Lamar Jackson's throwing you the football this season because I won't be if you don't come down here and get some camaraderie in, get some throws in, get the timing, get some feel in between your quarterback receiver relationship." And that right there, we're kind of floored when he's
Oh
telling us
my
about it because
God.
it's like, yeah, man, he's just got something that you can't coach, and he has it. And I think he's going to be an unbelievable player.
I'll tell you this story. Our listeners have heard this before, but I went to the UF game last year, and one of my buddies on the sideline, right behind the coaches, and they score a touchdown on the first drive, scripted drive. Cam McCormick is the tight end who catches the 25-year-old, and an offensive coach goes up to my buddy and goes, "This game's over," and my buddy's like, "What the hell? Like, it's a swamp, 100,000 people there, it's hot as hell." And my buddy said, "What are you talking about?" And the coach goes, "100,000 people in the crowd. 80 guys there, 80 guys here. The calmest person in the stadium is our quarterback." And you get chills thinking about that. But like once they
Yeah, man.
saw it, because you don't know. You see him in fall camp, but once you see that he's out there running it like it's day two of camp, you're like, oh, okay, he's gonna be able to do this the entire season. And that once the bullets start flying, that's when like they in the military they call it the right stuff, right? Like that's once the bullets start flying and you're the calmest guy, that's when you know that you can figure out any situation.
Right, because you can like talk about, when at any time he's on the mic or kind of this realism he speaks with, and you kind of want to see it on the field or feel it on the field, and he's got that stuff you're talking about.
All right. So Mike Vrabel wins a game. I've always said I went down in Vrabel's last year in Tennessee, spent some time with him in his office. We talked about what makes him the kind of coach that A, guys want to play for, and then B, why does he win games he shouldn't? And the stories that come out of that locker room when he was there are so funny to me. Where
Yeah.
I think Delaney Walker is the one who coined the term. He said he will fight you, but then he will coach you. And then he might go back to fighting you, but he will also coach you too. I mean, there's no other. I think there's an adjustment period when guys get down there where it's like he'll get in your grill now. And I remember Ben Jones told me the story like, he'll just send they would send him Ben Jones to do Peloton and Vrabel would beat him and just send the screen grabs and just go, take that fat boy. And head coach talking to the center. Like it is a completely different deal down there. For when you see Mike Vrabel building his program in New England right now, just explain to Patriots fans who maybe don't know everything about the Tennessee program why he's able to win games like he was on Sunday.
Well, I think you just rattled off some stories about how his competitive nature, and he's
Yeah.
somebody who played in the league for 14 years, had a lot of success, and even as a head coach, he's able to talk to you in a way, whether it's competitive. Back on the story of he'll fight you, coach you, and then fight you again. He's got this ability to kind of connect with everybody because he's kind of sat in every chair
Yeah.
of the meeting room, whether you're a draft pick who kind of underperforms in their first year, like when he was with the Steelers, or he's been in a backup
Yeah.
role, he's in a special teams role, and then he's also a superstar where he's a Pro Bowl player, he's rushing off the edge. He also during his time with New England, he could play the middle spot, he could play the outside. You hear stories about how smart he was, about how he up Tom Brady in practices and kind of messed with everybody. But he's just got that ability to essentially connect with everybody in
Yeah.
the building. So when he speaks, you might feel a little jaded the way he's verbally assaulting you. I've been on the receiving end a few times, but there's nothing that he has on his resume that doesn't back up what he's saying to you. So he's able to connect with you in that way. But Coach Vrabel is also one of those coaches. I played for a lot of head coaches and a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
And I felt like what Coach Vrabel did that the others didn't do is he's able to clearly show you how you're going to win a football game. You might be outgunned, you might be outmatched, out personnel, strategy, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's able to break down the game for his team with three clear, team goals of the week, whether it be, your defensive team keys, your offensive team keys, your special teams team keys, your overall team keys. He's able to break it down for everybody so clearly throughout the week to where if you're a defensive guy, I would need to know the offensive team keys where you're sitting in the meeting to where everybody's on the same page of how you're going to win this football game. And you can call them culture wins, you can call them gritty wins. Like they're coined as like these Vrabel-esque style wins where you'll be completely, the sports book might be saying
Yeah.
you're a double digit underdog and he finds a way to win those games. And to me, it's because he sets a tone, not at the beginning of the week, but every day throughout the week when you're sitting in those team meetings to where he's clearly showing you through examples, everything of why these team keys are the Bible going into this game and how we're going to win this football game. Because I'm sure he's in there right now talking about how they beat the Bills
Yeah.
and showing tape and examples from the game of here's what we said last week and look at so and so doing this. Look at so and so making this play. What did we say all week long? Somebody repeat it. He'll show that play of why they win those football games.
Rodney Harrison said to me that Mike Vrabel's the best asshole he's ever met, which is a great
Oh, a
a
thousand
great
percent.
line. Yeah. Can you tell me? You mentioned sometimes it's rough with the coaching points he gives you or the bluntness he gives you. What's the thing? And obviously, it was from a place of love and from a place of coaching. What's the thing he said to you when you're on the roster that maybe dug the deepest, stung the most?
I don't know, man. He'd talk about my short arms, why I couldn't be on punt return, why I didn't have, I was solid across any spot on punt team on the interior on the line of scrimmage. He would talk about how I didn't have punch. I was more of an absorbed guy because I don't have long arms. He'd talk on my T-Rex arms. He'd bring up my social media in meetings, and I'd get
Yeah.
really uncomfortable about it. He's just got this style, like, one of the best assholes you've ever met. You kind of just don't know when he's getting in your ass about something, or also when he's joking, to where he's got to tell you, "Hey, I'm messing with you. You can laugh at that." You're kind of like, bro, he's got such this alpha dog mentality, to where you don't know where you stand at times, but it just you just live in this bizarre world mentally. Like when you're taking the game serious, you're also getting jabs where it's like, oh, is he kind of saying this out of a place of loves, or being, is he one of the boys right now? He's also the king of being like, it's always feel good Friday. Every feel good Friday is feel good Friday. He would always say, you're not gonna on my Friday, but he's out there cussing about something in the earliest periods of the way, buddy. Like you kind of, it sounds like you're PMSing right now because it seems like your Friday's up. But he's awesome, man. I love Coach Vraves. Matter of fact, I'm gonna shoot him a text when we get off this interview and tell him congrats on the dub.
There you go. It's funny that you mentioned that the because the social media thing in particular, because I was on NFL Live the day that Diggs had his deal, and I remember you and Taylor were talking maybe 2 or 3 years ago about, did you, was it you or Taylor that put the it may have been Taylor who put the X-ray on social media? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was that you put like or medical, you put some medical thing on social media, and you guys
Yeah,
yeah,
I
and you
posted a video of Darren Bates because in my, when you get later in the season, guys will have dings, they'll have injuries, but they'll kind of play the fence on, do they need to be in this walkthrough or not? And I'm thinking Darren Bates, he's kind of just slipping out of a period because he doesn't want to practice
yeah.
today. So he had on the yellow jersey or whatever it was. So I got on Amazon and bought him this neck brace. So when he came in the next day, I'm throwing him this neck brace for, hey, if you ain't going to practice, you're going to have to wear this neck brace so everybody knows you're hurt right now. I took a video of it, and I'm sitting in my house at nighttime in the evening, and Vrave shoots me a text saying, like, you think this is smart to put
Yeah.
injury information out on the internet? My asshole tightened up so much I didn't know how to respond. I kind of say, like, I felt, I thought, kind of funny, blah, blah, blah. He didn't bite on it. I'm like, he's going to kill me tomorrow in this team meeting for just like the boys bantering and having fun in the locker room, because I'm kind of jabbing at DB, like, DB, we know you can do this walkthrough period. If you're gonna have a yellow jersey at a walkthrough, you're gonna have to wear this neck brace.
Was totally different. Obviously, Diggs' situation, but when that happened, they were asking me. They were like, "What do you think Vrabel's going to say?" And I was thinking, like, he's probably going to send a text message that says, "Was that smart? Is it smart to be doing whatever the hell you're doing on a boat in June or July?" And of course, he ripped him a little bit in the press conference. But again, it was the same thing as what you're talking about, where it's he's not going to go out and throw the guy under the bus. He's going to gently guide him, let you know that he's not happy with you, but like, it's still just every
Gently,
yeah.
assholish in a
Yeah,
gentle way, guide you to, hey, this is the decision you should be making here.
that's exactly right. All right. So as I said, I'm a massive fan of what you guys do. Everybody on Earth who's played a sport has a podcast now. Okay.
Yeah.
And like I swear to God, now I don't want to be mean to anybody, but like there will be times where somebody will say, "Oh, so and so visited with so and so's podcast," and I go, "That person has a pot. What the hell? Like, what are we doing?" Like 8 times a week, I see so either a current player, an ex player, an ex coach, and they've got they're doing it with their son or something. And it's like, okay, whatever. You guys have broken through. What makes a good athlete podcast? Because it's the golden goose everybody's looking for. You guys have done it. What makes a good athlete podcast?
It's a great question. I would say, back when we were starting this up, it was kind of answering our end question. We didn't know it at the time, but kind of answering a solution to a problem that we were going to run into, which is when ball goes away, what do guys miss most? And it's the locker room. So the question we ask ourselves when doing any piece of content is, how do we bring the locker room to life through our content, through our conversations and everything else? Because a lot of the times before this whole new media wave of athlete podcast was coming out, NFL is football is like the number one, you know, selfless, like,
Mm-hmm.
team sport, to where you are sacrificing everything for the logo on the side of your helmet. And all of the athletes have a helmet all most of the time, where you don't have, there's nothing underneath the helmet, or the sound bites you're going to get is always in a locker room, always a kind of like a media story write up, like it's getting on Sports Center or ESPN. And a lot of times guys aren't given a lot of answers they'd really want to give, because they're in a locker room after a loss or after a practice, and you kind of want to, carry the status quo, or carry the standard of the team. And I think what we were able to solve is getting those conversations that happen in the locker room
Yeah.
or in this, sauna or at the cafeteria, and kind of bring those to life with guys and kind of tell guys stories, because everybody's got, something that made them who they are currently. And there's a lot of trial and tribulation that come with that. So it's kind of like getting into those stories with athletes. And I think breaking through, it's, you got to be, if you want to have a podcast, you have to be obsessed with it in a way to
Yeah.
where I knew I was going to work just as hard in my post life through the podcast or through the brand of Bussin' with the Boys that I was going to put in during football. Like, it can't just be like a side hobby that you get into. So it's something that you have to fully commit yourself to. And we kind of were able to position ourselves with owning our IP and kind of hiring out our own people.
Yeah.
And just, I've always loved the internet and have enjoyed the humor that comes with being a human, being in the locker room, being in that melting pot, and kind of showing off that side, or trolling a little bit, or playing up a story, because it always seems so much bigger on the outside. How can we have fun with
Yeah.
this moment, because we know it's not near as bad inside the locker room? And fortunately, just continued to do that, and it kind of broke through. Then we got to partner with Barstool Sports, one of the best social media companies on the planet, one of the best media companies on the planet. We learned a lot there. Um, but it's again, it's just, hey, we want to have a
Yeah.
successful brand or a successful podcast. How can we pour into it? How do you learn to pour into it the same way you do that we did while playing football? And we've been very lucky. We have a great team that understands the internet, that's with us, that creates a lot of our content. Everybody's aligned, and yeah, man, carry a lot of the values that we had playing football and
Yeah.
carrying it into the podcast world. I think that's what makes it successful, because a lot of people's going to be looking for that overnight success
Yep.
to happen. And it's like, dude, you're going to be tested in this space just like you are no matter what you're doing in life. You're going to be tested the same way. So it's just continue to do it, consistency, and not taking yourself too seriously, like having those serious conversations, showing that human side, that authenticity trumps everything. And I think we've been able to kind of do that, having our success with our brand.
I really like that. And for me, when people ask me about like ex athletes in the media, number one, the best ones treat it like a job, or sorry, treat it like a football job. Like treat it as
Yeah.
if, like Troy Aikman, when he came on my show last year, he's been on a couple times, but like the ESPN PR guy was like, "Hey, Troy's going to be 5 minutes early. He's not going to. He's going to want to do X, Y, Z because he's going to have his notebook out and he's going to treat it like a player." And it's like that's how you have that regimen, and you bring that to media, and that's how you're successful. The other thing is like a lot of these current players, they want to have the podcast, but then they want to hide when things are going poorly, right? And that's the one thing. Like I have
Yeah.
a friend who I have a lot of friends who've worked with Draymond Green, and every athlete is like, "Oh, I want to be the Draymond Green of football, or I want to be the Draymond Green of hockey, or whatever." And then, but there was a game a couple of years ago where Draymond Green got thrown out of the game, and it was like a huge story. And a couple of my buddies who work near him were like, "All right, well, I guess we're not gonna have a pod tonight." They check their phone 5 minutes later, and Draymond's like, "Hey, you guys ready? Like, we're going." And it's like, football players don't want to do it when they're playing. Hockey players don't want to do the game. It takes a certain type of athlete who wants to share their lows as well as their highs, and I think that gets lost sometimes. So it is what it is.
What you said too, that is very much key, man. It's like, are you going to show up during the hard moments? Because it is. It's like
Yeah,
you don't want to kind of show that because everybody's saying something. But if you, it's been a process, but you have to train yourself. You have to be very uncomfortable looking stupid and kind of talking through those moments, because eventually the pendulum's going to swing the other way. And
yeah.
as long as you sit there and you can answer the noise and kind of help control the narrative a little bit and be comfortable doing that without giving too much on the inside of the whole team aspect, that's where I feel like guys can have a lot of success.
This is betting is brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Bet $10 and get $100 in bonus bets when you use code Clark. 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we were 2-0 in the first edition of this segment. Let's keep it rolling. Same game parlay, Monday Night Football, Chiefs and Jaguars. I want to explain this here, okay? So first of all, Patrick Mahomes, three total touchdown passes. Okay, he's back. He had his best touchdown performance passing last week in about 2 years because Xavier Worthy is a downfield threat because they're able to do things they haven't been able to do in a long, long time. They get off to the wrong foot in Brazil with his injury. You're starting to see that roll. It's starting to look like it's supposed to look. Having said that, let's parlay that with Xavier Worthy. Rushing touchdowns scored one. Not going to get greedy. And then Travis Etienne Jr., who's been a dog recently. Let's go 50 yards for him. So plus 676 there on the same game parlay. Lock it in. 2-0 last week. Let's go. All right, rapid fire. We do something called badasses. You'll see the badass board behind us. Don't know if
I
any of your
see that.
teammates are on here, but we do it, and so everybody
Is
gives a
that Rayola? Is
badass.
that Dominic? Is that
Yeah.
Dom Rayola?
Let me tell. Oh, he's a Nebraska guy. So here's how
Yeah.
he got on. Okay, Dan Orlovsky told the story. He's playing with Rayola in Detroit, and they're at Washington, and Dom would just run on the field and just start chirping everybody at any point. That was just who he was. I'm sure you've seen that before. And he runs out, and the first person he sees is Snyder brought Tom Cruise, and so Rayola runs to Tom Cruise and just starts screaming in his face how much Top Gun sucked. And that's a badass. That's a crazy man. And so we have someone called Badasses. It's the most badass person you've ever played with. And then we put the guy on the board. Obviously, you played with a lot of badasses. You can take this anywhere. It can be a Nebraska guy, it can be an NFL guy, but just give me the badass and then why they're a badass.
Oh man, dude, this is a tough question to kind of carry some lore or story behind it. An absolute psychopath on the field to me was always Adam Hayward. He was a special teamer that played at Tampa for a long time, and then he played a few years in Washington with me. He was kind of one of the first guys who kind of put his arm around me on teaching me special teams. And hey, if you're going to stick around the league and be on a roster, get it. You
Yeah.
can play linebacker, but you're going to have to understand how to play special teams at every phase, at every position. But Adam Hayward was an absolute lunatic. I'm talking, he was the guy who drove the massive, diesel truck, had a train horn on it, wore like camouflage Crocs, does spear fishing, and just an absolute lunatic on the field. I'm talking like 6'2", 260, all of 260 that could run like a 4.4, to where I would get to be the flow linebacker off him. He was like the 5 on
Yeah.
kickoff. I kind of get to flow in because he'd run down and everything up.
Yeah.
And just an absolute specimen of a human being and somebody you never wanted to block or never wanted to play against on special teams. But he'd go off on coaches during practice. And I'm talking like, dude, this dude was an absolute menace. So he's somebody that stands out to me as probably the one that I never wanted to kind of mess with, or you touch his insecurities a little bit because I'm his boy, so you get him sparked up. But somebody who just loses mind over small things. But he's somebody that stands out as an absolute lunatic that I got to play with. That was also in the linebacker room. I wish I had some story. I'm sure I'm gonna
No,
get
it's
off
fine.
here and kind of think of one that matches up to old Dominic Raiola. I
Oh,
can only
Rail is
imagine
101,
what
man. That's
can only
101.
imagine what you heard about James Harrison.
Oh God.
I
Well, wait.
wish I got to play more with
Tom,
uh, Richie
Tomlin.
Incognito.
Oh yeah, there you go. Tomlin. So we've gotten Harrison a bunch. Mike Tomlin put Harrison in again in August, and I said why, and he goes, I don't have a story, but he's the only person that if I say anybody else, Harrison will drive to the facility and say, I heard that you didn't put me in on badasses, and that's why he's
Yeah,
in. And I was like, that's a
yeah,
badass, is you're scared to not put
yeah.
him in.
I've
But
seen Adam Hayward like get pissed off in the locker room and kick off his camouflage Crocs just to go get up in somebody's face and like bulk up and flex and start talking. So it's like, as far as like lunatics go and somebody that was also a specimen
yeah,
of a human being, it would be Adam Hayward.
love that. All right, we do something called one rep back with everybody. You get to redo one play of your career, do it differently, do it better. Where are you going?
It's a great question. I would say if I can get these plays back, my most embarrassing moment for me. So national television, it was a Thanksgiving game against the Dallas Cowboys, and I missed 2 tackles in a row solely on me on Ezekiel Elliott. They go down to score. I honestly can't tell you if we won or lost that game. It's like the one of the few moments that I constantly think about that I just wish I had back. But that would be it. That would be it for sure. If I could right those wrongs on Thanksgiving Day, I think it was back in 2016. Also, we're playing the Detroit Lions. That same year, 2016, they beat us. Matt Stafford zips it in on the final drive to win the game. But they were marching down the field on us. We were up. They needed a score to win. and they're in this 3-by-1 look, and we were supposed to check Buzz to where I would be the backside hook, but instead I checked Sky because I kind of knew what play would be coming. And so I checked Sky so I could be the front side hook. And I think they ran like four verts. Anquan Bolden kind of sits it down somewhere, but the tight end, the receiver on the
Yeah.
backside comes underneath to where there's nowhere to go in the four vert situation. You're kind of going to the underneath route because we're all dropping out. Thought I got enough depth to where I see the tight end coming underneath. I start to go down to break toward the tight end. Stafford whistles one by me, and they score and win the game. And that's one that God, I just hate because if I'm watching, if I keep my eyes on Stafford and not start to break down for the under route, I could potentially be in position to pick it off for a game winner and to ice the game. And it was off a check that I had to kind of put me in that position versus going with what we normally check game planning that week. That's one that I beat myself up on. That one wants me.
I was
That's one where I feel like I need to text Joe Barry and just apologize to him again because
I
he was
like
our
that.
coordinator.
I like how many guys you're just coming up with texts after this. You're gonna just text 10 guys and just like apologize to Joe
Yeah,
Barry, say good luck
yeah.
to Mike Vrabel. This is good stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
he ended up getting fired that year, and there's moments where I think, oh,
yeah.
like man, if we would have just played our ball, or players bail out the staff or whatever, just do our thing. Yeah, God, that's the
I'm
one right
sorry.
there. Where if I could get one back, it'd be that one against Stafford
I
and the Detroit Lions in 16.
I can see the pain in your eyes. All right, I have one more for you, and it came off of what you just said. Okay, this might be an incredibly stupid question, but over the weekend I was thinking about if you could put. I'm watching some of the bad colleges against the good colleges, and I'm thinking if you went out and put Matthew Stafford on Purdue, and like what would that look like? Okay, so let me ask you a question. If you could take if you're the Purdue head coach, for instance, I was going to say UCLA, but they beat Penn State over the weekend. Okay, and you could who would be the guy, the NFL player who would dice up college kids the most? Like you get the draft pick. You could put Lamar Jackson on Purdue. You could put Stafford on Purdue. Who would just knowing what you know about linebacker play and all that stuff? Who's the kid? Who's the NFL quarterback that would toy with colleges the most if they were put there right now? I know this might be a stupid question, but I was thinking about hypothetically, like watching Stafford because you watch him against NFL teams and he's whipping the ball. Yes.
Stafford's a great pick. Like Stafford's a great pick just because like he's got one of the best arms in the league, great deep ball. The only thing
People would
like you
cry.
would
Defenders would cry
Yeah, yeah.
if Stafford was in the Big Ten right now.
But you gotta also think about the scrambling ability.
Yes,
Like if you're
that's what I
gonna
thought.
give fits,
Yeah.
you look at a Justin Herbert, he's mobile. He can run around a little bit. Lamar Jackson, I mean, that would be crippling because again, like we got to watch him in college. So I would say Lamar Jackson just because it's like Stafford, you're just
Yeah.
gonna have to go zero all game, or you're gonna have to
Yeah.
just send pressure at him, and hopefully you get a free runner because again, he's still operating with that offensive line. You're gonna be in a great position always with Stafford. He's gonna put the ball where you need to. So I understand where he's gonna be an absolute problem, but you put Lamar back there, like there's no hope really
Yeah.
for anybody.
I
Because
know.
again, he makes one dude miss. It's 88 out the gate. He understands all offenses at a high level to where he's going to have a beautiful ball. I know he's shaking up right now, and the Ravens have their own question marks at the moment. But I mean, Lamar Jackson is he's as explosive as anybody in the league.
He's a demon, absolute demon. One time I called up the head coach of the team. Remember the viral like stop at the goal line, let the kid go past high school clip with Lamar Jackson from Palm Beach
Yeah.
County. So I called the coach of the other team and I was like, how'd you process that? And he goes, well, at first, because they had played him before, he goes, at first I literally looked myself in the mirror and said, should I be a coach? Like, am I putting my players in position to succeed because this kid Lamar Jackson's destroying me? Okay. So he spent years, 2 or 3 years, like existential crisis. Then he sees Florida State, and they can't do against him. It's the same happening. Then he sees the NFL doing it, and then he goes, "Holy, like I'm as good a coach as anybody in the country." It was just this one kid, Lamar Jackson, was just destroying people in high school, and it sent me into a spiral. So I always thought that was funny. All right, Will
Yeah,
Compton.
it's
Okay,
got to be Lamar.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you look at what Cam Ward, we got to kind of watch it last year. Now, with some more offensive mind in his brain, like him going back. Like again, you want some of the runners out there because that would be the absolute nightmare for these college defenses.
All right, Will Compton, busting with the boys for the Dads Pod. I'm locked in on the Dads content, man. I'm
Dude, I
locked in on the
love it.
dads. Dude,
I
being a
love the
dad is
dad content.
unbelievable. Being a dad is
Unreal.
unbelievable. I
One of
can't recommend it
the
enough.
hardest thing and the best thing in the world. And only dads understand that.
It's unbelievable. And are your little ones, are they into sports?
So Rue, she's 3, so we're not quite there yet, but she does the ballet, she does the soccer, she does the swim lessons. I think we're gonna have a little athlete. We got a little athlete. Time will tell,
Yeah.
but I am liking what I see so far. I need more of a killer instinct out there, but as
Yeah.
far as listening, taking instruction, and having some ability with the spins and the jumps that this girl can do, her ability on a scooter right now is second to nobody in the country as a 3-year-old. Um, I do like what I'm seeing. Well, time will tell.
Okay. I like it. Will Compton, thanks, buddy.
Dude, thank you, man. This was a blast. I appreciate the questions, and now I'm going to be thinking about this whole badass conversation the rest of the time.